If you've already looked up Portland's cost of living online, you've seen the numbers. There's no sales tax and it's generally cheaper than Seattle. But that information alone doesn't tell you how it actually feels when you live here. That's what this video is about. I've been working with buyers relocating to Portland since 2017, and there's a pattern I see consistently. You research Portland's cost of living online and feel prepared, but when you get here, you realize the financial picture you had of Portland was a little bit off. So today I want to walk you through 6 things people get wrong about Portland's cost of living before they move. I'm recording this in April 2026, so use the specific numbers as a reference point and verify current rates when you're watching this. Let's get into it. Number 1, no sales tax doesn't mean what you think it means. This one trips up people coming from California, Texas, and Washington, basically anywhere with sales tax. They hear Oregon has no sales tax, and they do a little mental math. Money back in my pocket every month. It's true that having no sales tax is nice. I've lived in 8 states and nothing can compete with the joy that is no sales tax. Whether you're buying coffee, groceries, or a new car, you're paying the sticker price with nothing extra tacked on. But of course, there's a caveat. What you save on sales tax, the state makes up for with income taxes. Oregon's income tax ranges up to 9.9%, with the top rate kicking in at around $125,000 for single filers. Because it's a progressive system, someone who's earning $75,000 would see an effective state tax rate closer to about 7%. And that's before federal taxes. If you're moving to Portland specifically, there's more. The Portland metro area adds extra layers on top of Oregon's state income tax. The regional metro government levies a 1% tax on income above $125,000 when filing single or $200,000 when filing joint. And Multnomah County adds its own preschool for all tax, which is 1.5% above $125,000, rising to 3% if you make more than $250,000. Both require separate filings, though some employers now withhold them. On top of that, Portland residents pay a $35 annual arts tax filed separately. Many newcomers don't realize these exist until their first tax season. So while the lack of sales tax is a definite benefit, you'll see a higher income tax than in many other states. Number 2, it's cheaper than Seattle, which is true, but it's kind of misleading. Portland is less expensive than Seattle. That's a fact. Seattle's median home price hovers right around high 800,000s, while Portland sit closer to the 500s, and a gap of roughly 300 to 400,000 depending on the market. Overall, Portland's cost of living is about 10 to 15% lower than Seattle's, though still slightly above the national average. It's a West Coast city with West Coast prices, and if you're relocating from the Midwest, the South, or anywhere outside of the major coastal metros, Portland might be a significant step up from what you're used to. The comparison that matters is between Portland and the location you're moving away from. There are some great cost of living calculators online. NerdWallet is one of the more reliable cost of living calculators because it's based on data from the Council for Community and Economic Research, a widely used economic index. But like any calculator, it models an average lifestyle, so it's best used as a general comparison tool. Number 3, utilities are manageable except for one thing. The good news first. Oregon relies heavily on hydroelectric power, which helps keep electricity rates relatively low. In Portland, overall utility costs tend to run about 10 to 15% below the national average, and the mild climate keeps heating bills from spiking the way they do in colder regions. Water is the exception. Portland's rates are higher than many cities, often around 60 to 70 per month for a typical household before calculating sewer. All in, most households spend somewhere between the $300 and $450 range on utilities, depending on their usage. The water quality is excellent, though, which is what you don't see reflected in that bill. Number 4, groceries cost more here than the research suggests. As mentioned previously, Oregon has no sales tax on groceries, which helps at the register, but the underlying prices are a different story. Oregon ranks as the 8th most expensive state for groceries in the country, with prices running 21.6% above the national average. A single person typically spends around $350 to $450 a month on groceries in Portland. A family of 4 is usually around $900 to $1,200. Portland has a strong food culture, and you can find good value if you shop strategically. Winco and Grocery Outlet on the budget end, Trader Joe's in the middle, New Seasons and Whole Foods if you lean local, organic. But if you're used to middle-of-the-country grocery prices, the adjustment could be difficult. Food inflation in the West region has been running higher than anywhere else in the country, so the trend lines aren't moving in the favorable direction at this moment. Number 5. Car ownership costs more than people budget for. Portland has light rail, buses, and a bikeable core, but most people who move here, especially outside of the inner neighborhoods, are going to need a car. And car ownership here carries costs that rarely show up in the relocation calculator. Full coverage car insurance in Oregon averages around $1,800 to $2,100 per year, or about $150 to $175 a month. Rates in Portland tend to run higher than the state average, though, and premiums have risen significantly in recent years. Fuel costs add a whole nother layer. Oregon's statewide gas tax sits at 40 cents per gallon, and Portland area drivers pay an additional local tax on top of that. If you drive frequently, those costs can add up quickly. Number 6, where you land in or out of Portland changes everything. Here's something that won't often show up in the cost of living calculator. People research Portland cost of living as if Portland is one thing, and it's not. The city is large. The metro region is even larger. Whether you're looking at close-in Northwest Portland, the suburbs of Beaverton or Hillsborough, or communities like Lake Oswego or Tualatin to the south, the cost shifts. Washington County sits outside of Multnomah County's tax jurisdiction. That means no preschool for all tax. Property taxes, school districts, commute times, and how much car you actually need, all of it varies based on where exactly you land. I work with a lot of relocating buyers who come in thinking they want to live in Portland proper. Some of them are right and end up loving it. Others discover that a community on the west side or south of the main city fits their lifestyle better and makes more financial sense for their family. There's no wrong answer, but the question is worth asking before you've already narrowed your search to one slice of the map. The final verdict? No sales tax is great, but it's not the whole story. Oregon's no sales tax advantage is real, and Portland is more affordable than a lot of the West Coast. But when you add up the income tax, the city taxes, the groceries, the utilities, the car costs, the full number looks different than what a simple internet search could give you. But now at least you have the full picture. And if you're doing serious research into relocating to Portland, your next step is understanding how the city of Portland is organized, because each area of Portland has a different feel, different price point, and a different lifestyle. I have a video that walks through all of it, and I'll link it right here. Thanks for watching.